3. Yeah, 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 yeah. Big 3, come on. Yeah.
Hey, it's your friend Tattoo here in the Windy City, Chi-Town, Chicago. We are ready for season 5 of the Big 3, all the way live on CBS. In just a few hours, Chi-Town's about to be lit. Let's go. It's Big 3, season 5.
Big 3. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, you know, Jared Jack was the man for Trilogy. I mean, definitely a team effort, but when it came down to it in the clutch, Jared Jack put the team on their back. You know, Three-Headed Monsters had a chance to win their championship. They got their get back on the same team just to get it, but they fell short once again. Many different things could have contributed to why it didn't happen, but at the end of the day, Jared Jack's special play to carry them was what led them to prevail to win the championship.
Big 3.
We kicked it off with Triplets versus Trilogy, two former championship teams. And it was a dogfight. You know what Joe Johnson's going to bring. And you know James White is now captain of Trilogy, the only two-time champion in the league. Jared Jack no longer with the team. They still got Stack Jack as a great coach in this league with playing experience. And then they also added Earl Clark over there. And Isaiah Briscoe now has a chance to lead the team and, you know, fill those big shoes Jared Jack left. Amir Johnson are still there, but I got to give a lot of credit to Triplets because, you know, they went a little bit smaller, a little bit younger, and I think a lot of people questions a little bit of their size, but they lost Al Jefferson, Allen Anderson, and Jamario Moon, but they bring in Jeremy Pargo, the younger brother of Gennaro Pargo, who was really sought after. And don't sleep on Alonzo G, who brings 3-and-D and a little bit of versatility, but really a defensive-minded guy. And without Lisa Leslie there, Gennaro Pargo brought his coaching experience to the team, and he was able to get away with the W, man. I mean, it was a dogfight. You know Joe Johnson. I mean, he was unstoppable. I mean, he's a real force to be reckoned with. You know, he's doing a lot of his yoga stuff, and he looks like he's not aging one bit. Inside game, outside game, around the basket, great footwork. I mean, they try to put different defenders on him and do what they could, but, you know, I just thought Trilogy got going way too late. And when they decided to play, they almost had a chance to pull it out. And that's one thing about Triplets. Sometimes they will kind of almost give it up at the end. That's what happened to them last year. But I just thought that Isaiah Briscoe showed that he had a lot of dog in him. And then also, yeah, and then, you know, Flight White's experience, I thought he kicked into gear. But I also feel like this team needs to gel a little bit, take a little bit of time to figure out their identity without such a force like Jared Jack. And I think that game, they could have got it, you know, a little bit of a call discrepancy at the end. But you can see that they're coming and they're still a force to be reckoned with. And losing the first game of the season is probably not going to be the end for them.
Big 3.
Three's Company versus Bivouac. I couldn't wait to see this one because we had two of the best new additions I think that the Big 3 has ever seen or had, with Michael Beasley added to Three's Company with Mario Chalmers and Brandon Rush as co-captains. But then also you got Gerald Green, the former Slam Dunk champion, with Will Bynum and Corey Brewer, Ike Diagu, Jeff Ayers. And you could just see that this was going to be a matchup that the fans wanted to see. To me, I thought it was the premier game. And what was so impressive to me was Mike Beasley just 100% from the field from the get-go. I want to say he scored the first 13 points, unstoppable, 2 4s, a 3. And you know what was crazy? I got a little bit of word from some of the guys. Mark Gray, assistant coach of Three's Company, he said that Mike Beasley was actually nervous before the game. He had the palms were sweaty. You know, like the Eminem song, Mom Spaghetti. No, he was a little nervous, and then to come out and play the way that he did was incredible. But I thought Bivouac as well, you got to pay attention to them, man, because Gerald Green was incredible. It's like he couldn't miss from the mid-range. He had 9 rebounds, 20-plus points. And I thought what happened was Corey Brewer's energy on offense and defense was what kept them in it. I thought Bivouac was missing Will Bynum. He had a calf injury, but you could just tell when the physicality picked up. Like, Mike had an incredible first half, but when the physicality picked up, I think that was a little bit of an adjustment for Mike to figure out how he can navigate through the game. But he had such an incredible block. Did you remember that block when Brewer went up, tried to go up on him? Man, he came from the stands and flew in like Superman and got an incredible block. I thought that was like a big momentum swing for them. That's why I wanted to get Mike Beasley a part of this league so bad. Shout out to Mario Chalmers as well to getting him to play, because we want that and we want to allow him to be himself, man. A lot of us have followed him on social media. We've seen him working out and playing guys one-on-one and talking all that trash. You got to get your way to a Big 3 game and see this live in person, because this dude's tough, he's skilled, and he's going to bring it every night. And shout out to Chalmers again for hitting that game-winning shot to send Three's Company their first W.
Big 3.
So we had Ghost Ballers and Three-Headed Monsters, two teams constructed a little bit differently. As you know, Three-Headed Monsters are without Reggie Evans, the biggest force on their team for years. But they did bring in Jonathan Simmons as co-captain. Mahmoud is still there. Kevin Murphy is still balling, going crazy. As you can see, he's still getting buckets. He's still making plays. And they got to figure out how they're going to move forward and play and figure out their chemistry with what they have now. And Reggie Theus is still kind of got to figure out his guys and what combinations work and how to maximize the talents of everyone. And I think he will do that. But you got to give a lot of credit to Iceman, George Gervin, and the Ghost Ballers. I think they got Darnell Jackson, who I thought was the best big available in the draft, who rebounds, sets mean picks, has that toughness that team has been missing. He can rebound, he can pass, he can shoot from deep. Even though he's big and strong, he still can knock down that open shot. And what that does is open up the floor for guys like Mike Taylor, right? And with his size also, he's able to set picks to get guys like Ricky Davis open. And it allows Chris Johnson to play a little bit on the perimeter when they're playing together and be more of a perimeter defensive player. So with him there, they are able to work a lot of different combinations. I thought Jermaine Taylor brought a good amount of energy. I mean, that game was back and forth. It could have went either way. As you remember, Kevin Murphy hit that big three. I think everybody in the gym thought the game was over, but it was a lot of basketball left to be played. And as you can see, Mike Taylor, Chris Johnson. Oh, yeah, shout out to Chris Johnson because he had an unbelievable tip jam in that game. And I thought when that had happened, that was like, okay, this is a new big three this year. But they won the game. They have a lot of chemistry. Same three captains for a long time. And they got it done. Ghost Ballers gets the win, and they're in the step in the right direction.
Big 3.
The enemies versus the aliens. What an incredible matchup, in my opinion, because I think a lot of us were interested to see the new and improved aliens team with Dusan Ballou, Carlos Lasmanis. They were without Tomas Ivosevic, but they still brought a lot of energy with the number 2 pick, Deshaun Stevens, who is, to me, so much activity. His motor is crazy. He's hustling. He's blocking shots. He's rebounding. He's diving for loose balls. And I just love the actions that they play with. It makes it very difficult for team defense. And Dusan is such a great decision maker that if you do something, he knows the counter to it. And so the way they're playing right now, I think is very unique because a lot of guys are doing isolation basketball, but they're doing a little bit more of team movement and continuity to put teams in a bind that they're playing against.
Big 3.
The enemies are just known for just playing a little too late. Like, they have talent. Nick Young can play. I challenged him in the draft. If you watch the draft, I challenged him. I told him I needed more buckets out of him. I still need more buckets out of Swaggy because I know it's there, but he does have a good supporting cast right now. And Elijah Stewart with that vicious dunk. If you want to roll that, that dunk was incredible. You can see it a mile away.
Big 3.
Ball Hogs versus Killer Threes. You could tell that Ball Hogs are really missing Leandro Barbosa. Just won a championship with the Warriors, so maybe he was a little hungover. I don't know. But, they still tried to scrap and fight. But at the end of the day, the killer threes look promising once again. I was a little worried about them without having C.J. Watson this year, but I thought Dominique Johnson came in and showed that he belongs in the big three with a quick 16 points, but also knocking down shots and making plays. And I love what Franklin Session does. You know, he's not a one-way player. He can either be a scorer one night or he can be a guy that will hustle. He's always going to hustle, but a guy that can distribute the ball a little bit with 7 assists. And then Dante Green, incredible every game. And also Josh Powell gave the team mid-range jumpers, just doing the scrappiness, rebounding, stuff around the basket. And what was good about them was a couple of guys scored in double figures. It wasn't just one guy and another. It was about 3 guys, Josh Powell, as well as Dante Green, and Dominique Johnson in his first game led the team in scoring. So I think Charles Oakley is happy with what he got. But you could just tell the Ball Hogs, you know, they need their captain. They need their captain. And I know that Leandro will be present, and he's eager to play week 2. But at the same time, the game had to be played, and Killer Threes did what they had to do to win the game.
Big three.
Well, let's just talk about power from the jump, okay? I really like what they have done with the #1 pick, Glenn Rice Jr. He is going to be a problem in this league. He's young, so he's going to be promising in the future. This guy scored 20-plus, many different ways, jumpers, drives, unbelievable touch with that floater from the wing, elbow floater. That was incredible off the wrong foot. He looked like, I'm just out here, and the next thing you know, it's a quick 8 points right in your face. And those kind of guys, so deceptive, but he's a killer. I mean, he can really get the ball in the hole. And then I really like what I saw from Nancy's son, TJ Klein. You know, he can stretch the floor. He hustles, high IQ, hit that game winner at the end. And I bet there were a lot of people skeptical, like, oh, man, she got her son in. The dude showed that he can hoop. And that's what this is all about. She knows him better than anybody, and she put him in the proper positions to succeed. And then you also look at Coutinho Mobley, very smart captain, maybe getting a little older, but he can still play this game at a high level, took advantage of mismatches down low with Justin Dentman on him. And then Skeetish Veely kind of getting his groove. I like Royce White. He's not a selfish player. He's looking for the open man. He's willing to bang, rebound, play defense. And, you know, he's the identity to just keep this team tough.
Big three.
I still think TriState can still be good. Obviously, they missed Jason Richardson this past week, but Justin Dentman shows that he can still score it. He still can get around his man. He can still knock down shots. DeJuan Summers in his debut was solid with a quick 11, but I think they need Jason Richardson to get there and they need to follow his lead. Larry Sanders is still a defensive problem, 8 and 8 points, rebounds. And you love to see that because he's going to be promising, but they need that third piece. They need their captain there to put teams in a bind, and not just offensively, but defensively as well. Yeah, you definitely don't want to play catch up. Power's in a good situation. They won the game 50-35 and looking promising, man. They're running a lot of good offense. They look like they're on the same page early, like they've been spending a lot of extra time together to prepare for this season.
Big three.
Another great week of Big 3 basketball. Couple games that you just do not want to miss. First one is Three's Company versus TriState. You got Mike Beasley going up against Jay Rich. Man, you can't miss that one. And then we also got the Aliens versus the Triplets. You got maybe one of the best decision makers in the game in Dusan Ballou going up against the Big Three's best in the game, Joe Johnson. And don't sleep on Jeremy Pargo, okay? This guy can carry this team as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing this matchup, and I hope you are too.